Alice Cooper? He seems like he's been a really, really fun guy to work with.
Yeah, I remember shooting Alice in the mid '80s. Big fan. There's a picture in '77. I was 17 when I took my first picture of him, NASA Coliseum with the
Hmm.
guillotine. It's a full page in the
Oh,
book.
yeah.
And I remember when I first met him, it was a trip because I mean Alice Cooper
Alice
is
Cooper.
not so. This is the mid '80s, and he had like a lot of stage gimmicks and stuff, and we
Hmm.
kind of took a lot of things underneath the stage, and we set some up, props up, and things like that. But it was really cool. But then I remember like telling him, I said, "All right, come on, Alice, give me something with your hands," and he's like, "Mark, I ain't that kind of guy," because I used to tell the like Dee Snider and Brett Michaels, I always like
Yeah.
have them be animated with their hands. Alice took a little offense to it, and he's like, "Mark, I'm not that kind of guy." He goes, "I'm not one of those guys, just I'll give you Alice." And I said, "Okay, no problem." So, but we have a good relationship. This book is my Danzig story.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that at the end.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
this is a situation where the record company hired me. They saw all the album covers they did. They hired me. They liked my work, and they hired me to shoot Danzig. I never shot him. I never met him. They came to my studio for the first time, like a lot of the bands did, and
Hmm.
I just treat everyone the same way, and I pose them around, and they were just very they didn't move, and I they didn't move. I said turn to the left. I'm trying to get their angles right, so I really
Hmm.
couldn't get I couldn't do what they the record company wanted me to do is make them look good. So I just started. I went what I usually do when this happens is I go over and I start moving them like physically.
Yeah.
I usually do it kidding around, uh, but when I did it to them, the first guy like kind of went with it. I forget his name. When I got to Glenn and I was ready to touch Glenn, he's like, "Don't touch me," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I took a few more pictures, and I was like, "All right, we're done." They ended up using it for the inner sleeve or the gatefold for that first debut album for Danzig. So
It's crazy because, yeah, but you were doing it. Like, weren't you trying to adjust the angles to make it look like, Glenn was, more monstrous, more intimidating because
yeah,
he's the shortest
exactly.
member of the band, and it's a complimentary shot that you were doing. You weren't, he's only going to look good in it.
I know, but he didn't. I guess I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know.
It's just I'm trying to get some different things. When they don't move, it's like you get the same shot. You want to try experiment, and they really weren't listening. So I went in there and started moving them, and I always kid around, but they didn't laugh. And
Doesn't
I
surprise
found
me.
out
That's
years
pretty funny.
later. It's like I remember going to one of the shows, and they scratched my name off the photo pass list, and I found out that Glenn didn't take a liking to me, and that's why.
Aerosmith. So you had a good relationship with Joe Perry, though, beyond the regular band when they kind of did, they went separate.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Well, actually, that's when I developed my relationship with both Aerosmith and Joe Perry.
Hmm.
When Crespo got in the band for Aerosmith, Lieber Krebs was still managing him, and I was working with Lieber Krebs, and I was shooting their shows, and they were only playing like big clubs at that point.
Yeah,
It was their dark days,
it was.
and I got to know Steven well. We hung out a lot with the band. And then Joe was doing a solo project, the Joe Perry project, and he was
Hmm.
playing really small clubs, like 100 people. And I always loved Joe, and I went to this show in New Jersey, small club, and introduced myself, showed him some pictures that I shot that were at Circus, and we kind of clicked. And I was shooting for We Magazine. I was shooting naked girls, like half naked girls with
Hmm.
rock stars, and what a concept, right?
Right.
And I did Ozzy, Motley, did a couple Motorhead, and I asked Joe if he wanted to do it. It's a national magazine, it's
Hmm.
Penthouse, not Penthouse, We Magazine, which was owned by Playboy. And I asked him if he would, pose with a hot blonde, which is my girlfriend at the time. And we got a motorcycle and some cars, and he came over to my house in New Jersey and spent the day there doing that. And he got a lot of attention. And I know later on he told me, he kind of thanked me because that was like that was like the nail that sealed the coffin on his marriage, because I don't think his wife liked that. But now the Ozzy one, you open it up and it's Ozzy in the bunny outfit. So I tell this story in the book, and it was pretty funny. I remember Sharon coming over. We were doing a photo shoot for Faces magazine cover called, and we were kind of playing off of Diary of a Madman, and it was a
Mhm.
Mother's Day issue. So we dressed him up like a mad housewife, you know, colors in it, just totally crazy, you know, because Ozzy let me do crazy stuff and we had fun doing it. And when we got into the studio, I mean, he was prepared to do that, and that would have been good enough, really. But then when we walked in, I shared my space with another photographer, a commercial photographer, and in the corner of the studio was flowers and a trestle and a bunny outfit. And it was Easter time, so I guess the still life photographer was doing kind of Easter theme, you know.
Yeah.
And Ozzy says, "What's that over there, Mark?" And I looked over for the first time. I noticed this bunny outfit. I said, "Well, that's your bunny outfit. We're gonna wear that." He's like, "What?" And then Sharon looked at me. She goes, "All right, boys, I'm gonna go shopping. I'll see you later." And that was the first time I heard Ozzy like yell "Sharon," you know. And then I said, "Come on, Ozzy." He goes, and he's like, "Oh, all right, all right." And he put it on. I couldn't believe he put it on. And then maybe 15 years go by, and I never released them, because how could you release pictures? I didn't even show it to them for approval because I thought it was just ridiculous. You know, Prince of Darkness in a Easter Bunny outfit. This is like '84 when he was the real
Yeah.
Prince of Darkness. He wasn't doing too many. He was doing crazy stuff, but that was not even crazy. It was just silly. So I sent the picture on Easter to Sharon and Ozzy, and next thing you know, it